I'm so pleased to talk to you guys because I am starting a new religion, and you can be one of the first to join tonight. Actually, religion isn't quite the right word. It's a little heavy. It has a negative connotation. This is broader than that. It's more of a way of thinking, a way of life, a way for people to, it's a cult is what it is. It's a cult. And it uses the laws of physics as its guiding principles. Since I'm a mechanical engineer, I use the laws of physics in my job to keep reactors from melting down and buildings from falling down. But I've also made physics kind of a functional spiritual practice. And it's working very, very well for me. So let me tell you how I got here first, because I know your mother said if someone asks you to join a cult, hear them out, be polite, maybe go to dinner, spend a couple weeks at the compound, and that's all I'm asking you to do here. I started at in a Catholic high school, not being one bit Catholic and not knowing anything about science, and I learned about the New Testament and science at the same time. So in second period, we read about Jesus just casually walking over the Sea of Galilee on the water. And then next period in physics, there was a really nice equation on the board describing buoyancy, and I thought, damn, that guy's a really good physicist. And then later, when he was turning water into wine, we were turning bases into acids with Erlenmeyer flasks, and I thought, way to go, scientist Jesus. Nice work. So then in New Testament, we continued to read about Jesus' scientific and medical skills, which seemed perfectly reasonable to me, and how it freaked out the Romans, who were clearly all journalism majors or something. And in the history class, we learned about just incredibly bloody religious wars. And then in the English class, we read about a woman who apparently had sex with a minister and then had to monogram all her sweaters with an A, even though her name started with an H. And then in health class, Sister Anne told us what sex was, though she had never tried it. So amidst all this madness in science class, the elements of the universe lined up politely in color-coded columns, sequentially numbered in the periodic table. So science clearly had its act together, and everything else was a gigantic mess. So I know what you're thinking about me and my cult right now. I know. You're thinking, I want to join, but I don't know enough about physics. Right, okay. That's okay. We'll start with what you remember. Physics in high school? You remember not taking it, I think. Damn it. Do you at least remember looking at Einstein's hair and thinking, what the hell is going on there? This guy's a genius, right? And he looks like he passed out at a party and his friends jacked his hair with egg whites and a blow dryer. Not genius material. But we will just start there. As they say in recovery, we will start where you are. And I will not only translate 3 laws of physics into useful life lessons, but I will explain Einstein's hair. And if you're not completely moved and convinced by the end of this, you do not have to give me all of your money and all of your worldly possessions and join my cult, but I would beg you to remember that you can't break the laws of physics, but they can break you. Not a threat, I'm just saying. So the first law, I'll just run through them. Gravity treats all objects equally. If you dropped a Buick and a marble from Hawthorne Bridge, it would hit the water at the same time. Gravity doesn't miss anyone, and it doesn't pick on anyone. So, and I know that's a hard one to get your head around because we do feel picked on by the universe a lot, but remember when everyone wished they were a Kennedy? And they were wealthy and powerful and good looking and cool, and then holy, what the hell happened? It's like gravity just waves her leveling hand. And I know that you can give me plenty of examples of gravity pulling someone down who doesn't deserve it, or failing to level someone who really does deserve it. But let me just remind you that cults are built on a very limited life experience and a skewed personal perspective of one charismatic leader, and I am that charismatic leader, and I'm telling you, I've noticed that it kind of looks like everybody hits the water at the same time. Conservation of momentum, principle 2. Bodies at rest tend to stay at rest. Bodies in motion tend to stay in motion in that direction. I was in jail recently. It was just a misunderstanding and a long story. And I was talking to people in holding for 9 hours as they held me for 9 hours in holding. And I noticed that it wasn't one stupid thing that these people had done that got them jail. It was an impressive string of stupid things, one after another. And it looked like once their lives started rolling in a certain direction and they got some momentum, there was no way they could stop. And it was rolling right towards jail. So when you're thinking, I wonder what meth is like, it's a fair question, and it's not a moral question, it's just a conservation of momentum question. Do you want to do things that lead to a life full of parties with like fancy cheese and olive plates? Or does that action send you in the direction of jail, where I can tell you they serve white bread sandwiches with crusty lunch meat, and they're made by inmate workers who are very likely to have used their body fluids as condiments. So it's just which way do you want to go? Law number 3, and this is my favorite. Everyone's got a favorite physics principle, right? Second law of thermodynamics. This one's cool. Everything in the universe is tending to disorder. In our cult, we will call this entropy because that's what the smart people call it. This includes you and your life. And you can try and fight this growing entropy and this disorder by really trying to stay extremely organized, by like alphabetizing your underwear. I don't know how you'd do that, actually. By last name of person who most recently removed it from you. I can tell you have no idea what the last names are. First name? No? Okay, just for you in particular, just go by general impression, like F for the fireman who responded to the alarm in the Seattle hotel. But you see how difficult this is? It gets very stressful trying to organize everything. So you could just give up and revel in the disintegration, just let it all go to hell, or you can direct the chaos. And here's how I do it. I look at my life as a little universe, my body and my car and my living space. And what we know about every universe, no matter how tightly you define it, is that entropy increases. And I could prove this to you. It'd take hours, and there'd be 2 or 3 of you left just fascinated by the whole thing. But we won't. So what I do is I throw all my gum wrappers and dirty plastic forks and the unalphabetized undergarments in the floor of the passenger side of my car. And I do it with an intentional flourish to let the gods of entropy know that I'm serious about this. This is my offering to them. And I allow that to just be a visible and embarrassing disaster, that one part of my life. And if someone gets in the car and looks at me like, what the, I don't know. I just can't do any better than that. It's the best I can do right there. And the benefit, I don't have cancer. I have allowed entropy to take over one part of my life that's unimportant to me so it doesn't mess with things that I care about more, like my breasts. Now, if your entire life is a trash can, your hair and your bathroom floor and your relationships and your living space and your yard and your body, as your new cult leader, I would ask you this: who has included you in their little universe and made you their dumping ground of disorder? Or do you have some unspoken agreement with the universe and with your friends and family that if you remain a mess, no one will ask anything of you? And what happens if you clean up your little universe? Who freaks out, and what is now required of you? Now, I know cult leaders are allowed to be insane, but I'm not. I swear to God, I'm not insane. I know that bad things still happen to good people, no matter what principles they faithfully follow. But it comes down to this for me. Some people see evidence of Jesus and Muhammad and signs of the Kabbalah in their daily lives. I see energy, momentum, light, gravity, every day behaving the same way consistently, as though they've made me a promise. Like they're saying, we won't trick you, we won't change, and we will be the same for eternity, and wait patiently for you to understand us. And if you do understand us, you will understand everything. And that's what I want. I want to understand absolutely everything. And I'm nowhere near there, but I get little hints every day. From gravity, I see that life isn't easy for anyone. Conservation of momentum tells me to be very careful in which direction I move. And the second law of thermodynamics tells me that chaos just happens. Allow just enough, but not too much. Let something that really doesn't matter become an absolute mess. And now do you understand Einstein's hair? The guy was a genius.
Christine McKinley.